Hey everyone. Hi, welcome to today's stream. Very zoomed in. Hold on. Okay, cool. Hey, hey everyone. What is this? Cool. Hey Joshid. Hey Rakshit. Yes, today we're going to talk a lot about vibes. Hey Lipsa. Hey Shashank. Hey Chaman. Hi Gorika. Hi Avish. What's up? Hi, everyone. There's a change in environment because I recently moved houses, so that's new. And then also last week we didn't have a stream. Uh, I was sick, so I'm better now. And we'll keep today's stream pretty crisp. I'm very excited about what we're going to talk about today. Um, Yeah, keep the comments coming and shoot your questions at any point. We'll address them like through as we go along. And yeah, um, hope everyone's doing good. So today, what I really wanted to talk about is so I was working on this. So I've been writing these Twitter threads on I've been writing these Twitter threads on brand experience design. The last four, I've written four, I think so far. I've written Zomato, Indigo, Billy, Airbnb. Am I missing one? Cash App. I've written five till now, and I was working on two more this week. And I was really excited by so one of my personal favorite brands that I was writing about, which I will tell you guys about in a bit. I had so much fun like reading and writing and like researching this particular brand that I decided that before I like release the post the Twitter thread that I'll give you guys um a like sneak peek or like just to we can talk about it during the stream and everyone else can see like what I'm talking about in the Twitter thread either tonight or tomorrow. I'll let you guys decide whether you want the rest of the world to know tonight or tomorrow. So once we go through this by the end of the session, if everyone can drop in the comments whether I should post it tonight or it's ready, by the way, whether I should post it tonight or I should post it tomorrow. And there's another one also in the works. I'm really excited about that too. Yeah, so today I wanted to talk about Poolsuite FM. Um, it used to be called Poolside FM, and maybe some of you have heard of it, maybe some of you have not. But essentially, let me show it to you. It's poolsuite.net right now. So they used to be, even I think, even if you type poolside.fm, it redirects you. Yeah, it redirects you. Okay, cool. So, okay, so I want you guys to see the entire thing for first. So, uh, I'm gonna make it full screen. So because it's so good. Poolsuite.net. So this is how it starts. This is actually what the website is like. And then you press spacebar and then you're in, and this is what the site is like. So this thing moves, like old desktops. There are all of these icons over here, really old school. Then this is the this is the launcher what we just opened up. Then they have the FM, which is what they started out. So it's like a web-based radio. So it plays music. And so this also can be moved around, which is so cool. Then they have Poolsuite TV, which is just random like VHS videos that they have on loop. And then you can basically play the music and play these videos together to make like some kind of music video. Yeah, so this also moves around and does cool things. I don't think you can make it bigger, yeah. Then this is their Instagram feed, and the coolest thing is that they have basically recreated what an Instagram feed would look like, but in this particular style and like visual design. So check it out. Their actual Instagram. I mean, they have a proper Instagram if you go to. This is like a regular whatever. It's a very well curated uh, vibe of their Instagram, but then they recreated that in this particular style over here, which is so cool. Then they have this guest book where people leave like comments, people like it's similar to like a guest book in a hotel. So you leave your thoughts and stuff. So I think I have a login, so I do have one. Okay, I'll do this. It's not important. Yeah, well, so I wanted to show you guys this. This is so cool. You can also, by the way, change the colors. Okay, that's on the desktop app. And then there are different kinds of playlists. Like you can choose the default. You can choose latest 20 tracks, Indie Summer, Hangover Club, Tokyo Disco, Friday Night Fever. And yeah, so this is the so I want to tell you guys the story about Pool Suite and how it started, Poolside. And they have this other really cool thing, which is a thing that they started. They started a sunscreen brand from their so the story goes that there's this designer called Marty um, Marty this guy. I think he's completely amazing. This is not his face. This is just a photo he's used, but yeah, so he is the person behind Poolsuite. I'm going to call it Poolsuite from now on. So basically, he stays in like Scotland or something like that. And it's like really cold and, rainy and stuff over there. And then one day, one of these days when it was like cold and very like dear, dreary, yeah, I think that's the word. Um, he just wanted to listen to like summer tunes and like summery music. So then he decided, why not curate a playlist, which we all do. We all curate playlists on Spotify or whatever. But why not curate a playlist, make it like a web radio? And this curation was happening completely on using SoundCloud and YouTube. And then but the curation is full like summer vibes, just beach summer vibes, and the music, then the design, and the entire aesthetic was is built around what how it feels like when you're at the pool side, literally. Um, and yeah, so that's how it started. So it started with the OG poolside. I'll show you. Yeah, so the old one looks something like this image. Um, yeah, so it's similar to this, but just slight difference. Then it became so viral and people loved it so much because the music is great, the aesthetic is nostalgic, and like it's just so fun. And they just got a really great sense of humor, a really great like aesthetic, very consistent, very nice design. It's unforgettable. There's nothing very much like it, even though it's referential to a lot of old school like 90s Macintosh design. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen Hello Macintosh. You might have seen this really iconic Hello, and they recently brought it back in the newer iMac as well. Um, wait, let me. There we go. They brought it back. So but and then there's also you should check out Macintosh icons. So this is the entire. It's an extremely famous set of icons that were designed for Apple's Macintosh. A lot of these, I'm sure you've seen this guy, this computer fellow, um, and surely the hello as well. And then there are some more. This was designed by this amazing designer called Susan Carr, and she's great. Like her work is amazing, and all of this entire icon set was designed by her. So a lot of the style on Pool Suite, if you see the design, is very similar to that kind of style. The old Macintosh also used to use this font, which Poolsuite is using as well. Let me close this. This particular one, the one that says Poolsuite, this particular font, all of this stuff is this typeface called, if anyone knows, please message in the comments. Uh, yeah, if anyone knows what the name of that particular font is, just drop it in the comments. I'm excited to hear if anyone knows the name of this. Yeah, in the meantime, let me show you guys some other stuff. Hold on, let me do this. Okay, yeah. So this is with a particular, this is the style that Poolsuite is going for. And then they have that alongside all of these. So their merch line, for example, has like these really like old school beach. If you think about like Baywatch and a lot of these other shows, it has that kind of old school aesthetic. Check this out. It's like intentionally made to look like this. So Marty and he found this developer, this other person, they decided to build it together and they built it like super quickly. Yeah, so Shreyanki's right. The name of the font is Chicago, and it's this really great. Let me pull it up. Show you guys this Chicago font. It's very difficult. You may think that you may not have seen it, but 100% like everyone has seen it in, especially in this kind of context. And it was designed custom for Apple. And so yeah, it's a very iconic style. And that particular this retro Macintosh style was kind of juxtaposed with like this summer beach type of thing. And so they built this, and it's truly amazing. If those of you who have I don't know if they have a Android app, but they definitely have an iOS app. If you do have an iOS phone, please download the app. It's an amazing experience. Funnily enough, even though their website is has this Macintosh aesthetic, their app, they decided to take it to the next level and not do the Macintosh aesthetic because that was on a computer, not on a mobile. So for the mobile version, it uses like this highly saturated, like Nokia style. I will show you that as well. Pool Suite Mobile. Yeah, so it has this really super saturated, like monochrome kind of thing going on. It's just amazing. So, the point I'm coming to with why I'm telling you all of this, why I'm sharing this, why it's such a great example, is because how do you design a vibe? How do you create an experience around a feeling? That feeling of being on the beach in the summer, like sunbathing or just chilling out in the like on in the sand or whatever. How do you create that feeling with brand experience design? And like we keep talking about brand experience and things like that, but essentially what is it? It's like trying to create this experience and this environment and essentially this vibe that encompasses all of these intangible feelings and emotions that we all have with respect to a certain kind of thing. In this case, it's the example of beachy summers, and that particular feeling has been is part of every touch point of this particular product. So the music is extremely, so I can't play the music because I don't think they are copyright free. So you guys should definitely play the radio after this session. It's a great playlist. Like they always have really banging music. Um, and what happens is, so what I was saying was, so they started off with music. They decided that they wanted this feeling of, because it was rainy, because it was cold, whatever, can we use music to change our emotions, change our mental state, change our feeling or whatever? That was his idea. And he created a playlist. Now, from that playlist, he was able to create a certain kind of environment and feeling. And then he took that to the next level by creating an entire product, an entire website and app and everything around this feeling. And that is pretty much nothing. better sums up what brand experience design is. To think about all of these touch points, all of the senses that we use to experience something, how can you create a very well connected, well integrated experience for the end user using all of these tools that you have. As a designer, as designers, I think we often think that what we are responsible for, what we have control over, is like the visual aspects of something, or maybe maximum the content, or if you're a physical product designer, then maybe the look and feel of a certain kind of product. But think about the atmosphere that you want to create for your user. How can you create a better, more rich, more immersive atmosphere itself? You can do it with music, you can do it with taste, you can do it with smell. Do you know that like Apple stores have a very specific, they have like a fragrance that they use in Apple stores to create a certain kind of experience. It's one of the most underrated senses that we have, the sense that our olfactory or our nose, our sense of smell. And if you think about a coffee shop, think about a coffee shop that you really, really like if you are into coffee. A big part of that coffee shop experience is walking into it and smelling freshly brewed coffee. And that is, in many ways, experience design. And that smell is one of the touch points. Here, they have tackled sound, they have tackled visuals, they have tackled, uh, yeah, mainly these two, I think, sound, visuals. What else is there? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling. Okay, yeah, so these two. But there are like I gave you the example of a coffee shop. That's an example of using smell, and of course there's music usually in a coffee shop, so that's another thing. Then there is like, okay, let's just take this example of a coffee shop. You're about to design the experience, the brand experience for a certain coffee shop. Now, what are the tools at hand? Mostly people would think that the tools that you have as a brand experience designer is to design the logo, let me go back to video. Yeah, to design the logo, um, to design maybe the hoarding, the front board that says whatever. Let's call this coffee shop something also. Let's call it let's call it Vibes Coffee, okay? So we are going to design uh, the brand experience for Vibes Coffee. It's a new coffee shop that's starting somewhere, whatever. They brew their own coffee. They they they've hired us as a design team to be able to design their brand experience. First things first, most obvious thing that people would think about, the client is likely to ask you also, is to design their brand, to design their logo. That's what they know, and that's what they think you know as a designer. So you start there. You probably design, like you figure out how to design this logo, how to design all of the print material, how to design the menu cards, how to design the maybe business cards, maybe some packaging, um, coasters, all of these things. These are all standard things that you might have to do with a coffee shop. Let's say that Vibes Coffee is also like a pretty tech forward coffee shop, and they have an app. They have a standalone app where you can order coffee or customize your brew or whatever. So now that's another factor. So that's another touch point that you're adding. You're designing the maybe the mobile experience for this particular for Vibes Coffee. So that's one more touch point. So now you've designed like onboarding. You're asking, like, part of the onboarding experience is to understand the users, their coffee drinkers tastes, what they prefer, what they don't prefer, giving them some information about where the coffee is from, where it was brewed, when it was brewed, why might they like it, what are the tones in the coffee, things like that. And so that's the another touch point. Then another third very obvious touch point is the interiors of this coffee shop itself, right? What is the coffee shops are usually places where people spend a lot of time. It's not a fast, most coffee shops are not run like fast food joints. So then furniture becomes important. creating an environment where people feel calm, people feel rested, people feel like they can work and spend some time and unwind over here with the slowly drinking coffee, things like that. So then you decide to choose furniture accordingly. Maybe you decide that because you want to create this calming tone, you you use soft woods, you use soft grays, and you create like you have some marble textures here and there. You're using texture, you're using um, material, different kind of material to create a good physical experience for this coffee drinker. Now, what are some of the other things that are left? Now we have dealt with visuals. We have dealt with tactile feeling. Tactile is the furniture and stuff like their seating and all of those things. Those are some of the tactile aspects. Packaging can also be one of the tactile aspects. It can also be visual. Then there are two more things. There's olfactory, your sense of smell, and your sense of taste. Oh no, we missed one more. Sense of taste is pretty straightforward. If you have good, hopefully Vibes Coffee has good coffee. So let's assume that that's the client's responsibility. So uh, as a design team on this particular project, where the brand experience team, we have dealt with the visuals, like the what you see. We have dealt with what you feel. Now we have to deal with what you smell and what you hear. What you taste, the client has already dealt with. So, what you smell, there are a lot of options. Now, um, one option is that you make the coffee shop. Do you want the coffee shop to smell clean? What does it mean for something to smell clean? Um, because clean is technically clean is how something is. It's not how something smells. But we can all agree that because of our collective experiences and our experiences over a period of time about what it means to smell clean, there are some associations that we make that, if you can smell Dettol, the place is probably clean. If you can smell bleach, it's probably clean. Um, Bleach is not equal to clean. It is our experiences of smelling bleach in clean environments that we have kind of bridged that connection and made this association that bleach equals to clean. So we have the choice, right? We can decide to make it smell clean. We can decide to make it smell like coffee. That's a really big part of this experience. Do we want it to smell like coffee? Do we want to maybe make it smell cozy? How do you make something smell cozy? Cozy is a feeling. It's not a it's not a smell. But there are some shared understandings of smells that feel cozy. For example, a lot of people like believe that the smell of musk, 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 or like earthy tones, like earth smells, feel calming. Um, Lemongrass, eucalyptus, all of these things smell fresh. Usually, citrus always smells fresh. So if you have something like that, it probably smells fresh. Is that kind like, so these are the choices that you have essentially with respect to smell. You can make something smell a certain kind of feeling. Then, of course, you have hearing. So what do you want the sounds in this coffee shop to be? Do you want it to be the sounds of the frother, of the coffee machines brewing coffee? Is that the sound that you want? Is it the sound of people talking to show activity, to make people feel like this is, a busy place with a lot of activity? Or maybe you want the sounds of this place to also feel cozy and calm, and accordingly maybe then you can choose music for that place, and there are some musical choices or some genre choices that you will make to be able to make it smell cozy. So what essentially what this is that you have, as a brand experience designer, you have all of these different aspects at your disposal. When we design one or a couple of these touch points to be, in line with the brand, or like follow the brand guidelines or whatever that means, it doesn't still ensure that all the other aspects or all the other touch points that the coffee drinker or the user, whoever is experiencing, are also well connected and also speak the same language or have the same feeling that these other things do. So the more number of touch points you intentionally design to be in line with your belief system or the kind of feeling that you want to bring about and help the user achieve their goal or give them a certain kind of emotional feeling to the place, the more immersive this experience would be. And we keep talking about immersive and like, what does immersive mean? Immersive essentially, I don't know how many of you have watched like Alice in Wonderland, but there is this phrase that is like going down a rabbit hole, and people usually use it in a negative connotation. Like, once supposing like you are on TikTok or whatever, and then you find a video, and then you go to that person's profile, and then you go down a rabbit hole, meaning you started somewhere simple and then you spent like 3 hours going deeper and deeper. Now, if you could flip that feeling into being something that was positive, it wasn't something that was unproductive, it was productive. Immersion usually is the feeling of feeling completely cut off from distractions and from the rest of the world when you're doing something that you enjoy, that you feel connected with, that you feel attached to. There's this concept of deep work. I won't go into that too much now. It's like a productivity thing. Deep work is essentially when you just literally cut off all your notifications, cut off all of your distractions, and you spend 2 hours doing something very deep. There are there's no Googling of random information. There's no referring to some other book, referring to some tweet here and there, whatever. It's purely focusing deeply in the work that you're doing. So, similarly, if you were able to translate that into an experience, that would be an immersive experience. It feels so compelling that you feel cut off, that you forget time passing, you forget where you are, you forget how you got here. And I mean, these things can be negative or positive. I'm talking about it in the positive light. When it's negative, it's like going down a rabbit hole. And when it's positive, it feels like immersive. Immersion is usually a good thing when you're talking about brand experiences, because you want people to feel connected and understood and feel like they are part of the brand, like the brand understands them in many ways. So so that's how you can use all of these senses that we all have. We all have five senses, and over and above like our intelligence, our understanding of language, our understanding of so many different things that it may not be common, we have our senses. And yes, there are a lot of cultural differences, there are geographical differences, but there are a lot of things that are universal truths in terms of how humans experience things. And many of those things are sensory. And as designers, I think sometimes we forget that there are more than just like a couple of senses, there are many senses. And the more of those, you might have heard of this term, multisensory design, like multisensory experience. And what that essentially means is that you're creating an experience that takes care of more than one sense. That is a big part of brand experience design. And to remember that every small aspect, every tiny detail, uh, like every piece of text, every smell, every I'll give you a good example of this. Again, it's similar. I mentioned this before. If any of you uh, are fortunate enough to go to an Apple store, Apple stores are like beautiful pieces of design. The store itself is a beautiful piece of design. It's been designed so thoughtfully. A good example of that is one I told you about, the smell. So the smell is very specific. It's very nice. Uh, um, all of the Apple stores smell like that. Another really interesting fact is the staircase in an Apple store. You know how you have like the hand railing, right, to hold and walk up or down the stairs. In an Apple store, at least in the one that I went to, I'm not sure if this is true for all, but the one that I've been to in Singapore, it is, it's not exactly a hand railing. It's a curve in the wall, and the groove of this curve is so smooth, and it's made out of this material called Korean, I think, something like that. Called Korean. It feels like soft to touch. It feels like marble or whatever. And it's basically created they've created a groove in the wall such that when you place your hand to hold it, okay, regardless of your hand size, this particular part is like how you hold this part correctly fits in that particular groove. So it's there are no hard edges. It's just a completely soft experience, and it feels like it was designed around your hand. So if you think about, for example, this is my mouse. This mouse is not really like I have to hold it like this. Like I have to hold it like this. There is a gap over here, there is a gap between this, so it's not, if you can imagine there being no gap, and this the form of this, completely understanding the shape of my hand, that's how the hand railing of the staircase is designed. That is such a small detail if you think about it. Everything else, like Apple sells billions of phones and billions of other devices every year. For them to take into consideration a hand railing on a staircase in one store in Singapore, and I'm talking about it today because it made me feel understood. It made me feel as a human being. I touched that hand railing and I felt like this is thoughtful. This is someone cared about this small piece of, the small thing, little detail, and they put effort into it and they made sure that um, it felt good for me and it wasn't something that they forgot about. That is really immersive brand experience. That's the feeling you get when you feel like understood by like the experience of a brand. Okay, so I'm gonna stop on my monologue and answer some questions. Um, yeah, yeah. I said, yeah. So yeah, music is one of the most powerful ways to. So I think that if I had to rank the senses and in the way in which designers at least our familiarity with working with these, I would say it's like visual. That's the most primary thing that all non-designers also think that that's what designers are responsible for, and it's true. Uh, but we know that that's not the only thing that designers do. So visuals. So seeing is probably your eyes are the most used and most commonly understood tool. According to me, as a designer, the best my skill set or my toolbox are my senses. They're my eyes, they're my ears, they're my eyes when I'm training my eye to see better and trying to understand different things. They're my ears when I'm trying to understand people's needs, trying to listen to them, do conduct research, do interviews, hear them out. Um, so first is seeing, then is hearing. Listening is a super, super important part of designing, to listen, to get feedback. Then there's touch, like what do you call it? Feeling, like touch, physical, tactile feeling. So of course, a lot of physical product designers, or like ceramic designers, glass designers, um, potters, all of these design professions use the property of texture and material a lot. It's a big part of their practice. Um, and then there's taste. Taste, there is, I don't know if many of you are familiar with the field of food design, but it's a very big thing and it's really cool. So people design uh, like foods of the future. They try to understand how we can use like science and um, as human beings, like our psychology and our close relationship with food. How can you design food? Uh, and this is not like culinary art, it's like food science design. So, yeah, so then there's that. And then there's smell. So I think taste and smell are, in my understanding, the most underrated and our least used senses. The seeing is pretty obvious. Tactile, I'm sure a lot of you know examples of. Music is also a very big part. Uh, a lot of great brands do this thing called, they have something called sonic branding. Sonic branding is basically like, um, Netflix has that sound is their sonic brand. Um, I'm sure a lot of you know a lot different examples. The I'm trying to think of why am I not able to think of any examples? But there are very obvious examples. I'm sure many of you know all of the ads that we've watched, all of those very um, iconic sounds. Those are all sonic brands, and that adds to the immersion of that particular experience. So yeah, music is a big vibe vessel. You can completely change the atmosphere of a place or of a brand just with music, just with the right kind of sound. Yeah, it's a big part of that. Oh my God, yes, Shashank just spoke about, I just spoke about this. I didn't see this before I was talking about it, but food experiences. Heston Blumenthal is like a genius. He's a mad food scientist. And yeah, and think about, in many ways, he is a designer. He's thinking about experiential food, food as an experience. It is not something that is consumed by one sense. So when we eat, we usually see the food. So we eat with our eyes and we eat with our mouth. Okay, and then we smell a little bit also. What if there were other aspects? Like, what about feeling? What about, can you hear? Oh, hearing food is a big part. Like when you crack some items or when some items feel soft, all of those sounds and those different senses, that's a huge part of our food experience. And I think we often forget it because we're so used to understanding food as something that we eat, like therefore taste. So we forget that there are all of these adjacent senses at play. I'm not sure again how many of you already know, but this term aroma, the word aroma basically is the feeling of the combination of your taste and your smell senses working together. So I'm sure many of you know this now that like people who have COVID, right? Like one of the symptoms of COVID was that people couldn't taste or smell because our nose and mouth are very closely connected with each other. And when you have a really bad cold, food has no taste because when your nose is not working, your taste buds don't really work. Um, so, aroma to create foods that smell as good as they taste, and that is like creating an aroma, is such an important aspect of food experiences. Yeah, so everyone should check out Heston's work. His work is amazing. I mean, his like food. Mm, yeah, Divya has mentioned Araku. I don't know if how many of you know Araku is like a coffee shop. In now in Bangalore, it started out in Paris, and their coffee experience is also extremely immersive. It's like they have a coffee tasting area, they have someone who'll help, figure out which coffee you should get. Then they have all of the coffee equipment for you to check out and try out and stuff. And then, of course, there all of the obvious aspects of seating and lighting and music, all of that is in place. But they think about drinking coffee as an experience. It's not transactional um, thing that you do. So it really makes a huge difference. Yeah, I think Iman, I think it's Korean, yeah, DuPont Korean. I'm I'm glad for those of you who are just here today, this typeface is called Pleasure. Pleasure in Trap. It's great. Hi, Asit. I have not checked out Material You. Maybe I should because this sounds very exciting. Sounds like something I would enjoy. So thank you for sharing this. I'll check this out right after this sesh. Hey, Siddharth. Thank you for joining. probably rank smell higher up, it can literally trigger memories, feeling. Yeah, so again, like I mentioned, are actually like science has repeatedly proven that olfactory, our sense of smell, is one of the most potent senses that we have. We make a lot of associations because of smell. We can recall a lot of memories because of smell, more than seeing a photo, more than hearing someone's voice. Smell is the most powerful sense that we have, which I think is something that we don't often think about. But think about the fact that next time you, like for me, a great example of this is like whenever I smell jasmine flowers, jasmine has a very strong smell. I immediately get transported to like a Tamil wedding, because for me, smelling jasmine means I'm at a wedding because there's so much of that smell over there. I immediately get transported to like a wedding kind of situation. And if I smell jasmine out of context, outside of like this wedding thing, it's kind of disorienting because I always wonder where is it coming from? Why is it there? Are we at a wedding? Yeah. Uh, oh yeah, Nokia is a great example of good sonic branding. I'm not actually familiar with boats. Sahil, if you could, like, you can share it with me on Twitter or whatever. Otherwise, I'll find it on my own. Yes, Windows had a pretty good one. I haven't used Windows in a long time, so I'm not sure which what the sound is like right now. Zomato has sonic branding. I was not familiar with this. I know that Dunzo has one. Dunzo has one which goes like dun 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 or something like that. It's like, yeah, it's there on the app or something. Like when you get a notification, I think there is a sound, but Zomato, not sure. I've never heard of it. Um, yeah, cool. That's if there are any other questions, I'd love to take them. Otherwise, we could wrap up today's stream a little early. I think I mean, I shared a lot today, so I hope that you guys can check some things out from this session. And always, as always, feel free to drop me a question. I changed my Twitter name to Sneha Streams today. Shout out to Siddharth for this great idea. On Thursdays, my name will be Sneha Streams. Yeah, you can DM me or like tweet at me if you have any questions. Actually, I forget that YouTube has a comment feature. Yeah, you can just drop a comment on YouTube. I will reply to them. I don't get that many comments yet, so I'll reply to each one of them. Um, yeah, so that's about it for today. Yeah, I sang the entire. So I said I mentioned I'd be moved into a new house, and someone was coming home the other day, and then as soon as that happened, I started singing the "Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi" like intro music, because I never watched that show, by the way. I just know that it's very famous. I have probably overheard this music. I've seen it in like memes and stuff. So just purely based on that and how catchy it is, I was able to sing some parts of it. But you're right, like they have really good recall of their sounds and their music. Yep. Okay, so let's wrap things up today. Thank you all for joining, and hope you have a good week. Some exciting news. Our first cohort of the brand experience design program is starting next week. So actually today might be our last stream in for a while because the cohort is going to start. And Thursdays are usually my stream day, but they're going to be my cohort day. So because I didn't give everyone fair warning that this is the last stream, I'll do like a bonus stream sometime during the week, maybe on Wednesday or Tuesday. We'll see, whichever works. You guys can check for updates on like Twitter. I'll update it. We'll do one more stream before which we take a break because I'll be busy with the cohort. I'm really excited about that. For those of you who are here, who are going to join, I'm very excited for all of you to join. And Yeah, so thank you all for joining. Have a good night and see you sometime during the week. And then see you like way later. Okay. And keep now that, oh, right, there was one last question that I had, which was I mentioned in the beginning of the stream that the poolside, the pool suite, poolside, whatever, the thread is ready. But I wanna vote in the comments. Do you think I should post it tonight or I should post it tomorrow? Do you guys want like a whole like 12 hours uh, ahead? Like, do you want to have that much, what do you call it? A lead on this thing that we discussed? Do you want it to be like super only for people who attended the stream for 12 hours? Uh, or shall I post it tonight itself? You want to talk about it? If you guys are excited by it and you want to read what I had to, like what I wrote down, I'm happy to share it tonight as well. So if you guys can drop that in the comments quickly, then I will know what to do. Otherwise, that's about it. Thank you. Um, and good night. Bye.